Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ready to discover some hidden history?
Always.
Okay, great. Well, today we're heading over to Spain, to Badajoz.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, it's a city you might not have heard of, but
I haven't, no.
it's got the record for the longest walled city in Spain
Really?
and the biggest Alcazaba in Europe.
Wow. Bigger than even a castle.
Way bigger, like seriously huge.
That is impressive. So what makes Badajoz so special with all these defenses?
Well, that's what we're going to dig into today.
Looking forward to it.
Basically, it's all about location, 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 right?
Of course, on the border.
Yeah, smack dab on the Spanish-Portuguese border.
Bit of a hot spot then.
You could say that. It's been fought over for centuries, which explains why they went all out on the fortifications.
Makes sense. You don't want to be caught with your pants down when your neighbor decides to pop over uninvited.
Exactly. And we're not just talking about a simple wall here. We're talking centuries of building, upgrading, you name it, from basic walls way back when to like this super intricate system inspired by Vauban.
Vauban, huh? The Beyonce of military engineering.
That's one way to put it. The sources we've got are packed with all sorts of details, dates, architectural terms.
Oh no, too much information.
But don't worry, we're going to cut through all that to the good stuff.
Okay, good.
Like, get this, there's a vanished gate, phantom bastions.
Wait, vanished?
Yeah.
How does a gate just vanish?
We'll get to that. And even, like, symbols carved right into the stone by soldiers.
I'm intrigued. This is already way more interesting than I thought.
Oh,
Okay, you win. So where do we start with this Badajoz deep dive?
well, we got to start at the beginning, right? Like, we can't just jump into Vauban without laying some groundwork.
True. Foundations first.
Exactly. So back in the 9th century...
9th century. That's going way back.
Way back. That's when the city's founder, a guy named Ibn Marwan, started building the first defenses.
What, like a moat and a wooden fence?
Not quite. But I mean, compared to what came later, it was pretty basic. Just simple mortar walls.
I bet. Hard to imagine that now, considering how massive the fortifications are today.
It's mind-blowing, the difference.
So how did they go from basic mortar walls to, Vauban level stuff?
Well, like I said, location, location, location. Those early walls were fine for a bit, but as conflicts with Portugal heated up...
They needed an upgrade, right?
Big time. Fast forward to the 17th century.
Things are probably getting serious by then.
Oh, yeah. Medieval walls just weren't cutting it anymore.
Not against cannons, I'd imagine.
Nope. That's when they call in the big guns. Figuratively and literally. Enter Vauban.
Vauban. Finally. Okay, remind me, what was so revolutionary about his system?
Well, he was all about angles, interlocking defenses, creating this layered approach that was like a nightmare to attack.
So basically, making it impossible for anyone to get in.
Pretty much.
Genius. But you said Badajoz wasn't a perfect example of Vauban, right?
Yeah. It wasn't a cookie-cutter situation.
Makes sense. Every city has got to adapt to its own quirks, right?
Totally. They took his principles and kind of...
mixed them.
Exactly. Tailored it to fit the city and the landscape.
I like it. Smart move. So are we ready for that virtual tour you mentioned?
Let's do it. First stop. The Alcazaba.
The heart of it all. Okay, paint me a picture. How big are we talking?
Massive. 8 hectares.
8 hectares. Wow, that's like...
Think multiple football fields fitting inside.
No way.
Seriously, it dwarfs a lot of castles.
Okay, I'm getting a sense of the scale now. Huge.
Right. From there, we'll head to the Puerta de Palmas, the grand entrance.
Ooh, a grand entrance. Every city needs one of those.
And this one's got, like, a dual personality.
The dual personality. That's interesting.
Yeah, on the outside, it's all intimidating, like, don't mess with us.
Ah, classic defense tactic.
Oh, looks scary.
But then you go inside, and the facade is all fancy and welcoming.
Really? So a welcome home vibe on the inside.
Exactly. It's pretty cool. And there's even,
What is it? Remember that vanished gate mystery?
oh yeah, the one that just disappeared. Tell me.
Well, the Puerta de Palmas, it didn't actually vanish into thin air.
That would be spooky.
Right, but they literally buried it under newer walls.
No way.
Like a secret passage almost.
That's crazy. I wonder how many people know that.
Probably not many. Okay, ready for some bastion hopping?
Hit me with your best bastion.
All right, so first up, San Pedro. This one's got some serious battle scars.
Scars like what?
Cannonball marks from the 1812 siege. You can still see them.
Wow, that's incredible. History right there on the walls.
And to add insult to injury, Wellington's men carved the date 1812 right into the stone.
Savage. Talk about rubbing it in.
Right. Then there's La Trinidad, which is kind of unusual.
What's so unusual about it?
Well, they built a convent inside the bastion wall.
A convent inside.
Yeah.
That seems a bit counterintuitive for a defensive structure.
Yeah, it caused quite a stir among the military engineers back in the day.
I bet. I can just imagine the arguments. We need cannons, not nuns.
Exactly. But it shows you how complex life was in Badajoz. They needed defenses, but they also needed, spiritual sanctuary.
True. A city isn't just walls and battles. People need more than that.
Exactly. Okay, last bastion on our tour, Santiago. This one's dedicated to the memory of General Menacho.
General Menacho, what's his story?
He died defending Badajoz in 1811. A real hero.
Oh, wow. So this bastion is like a memorial.
Yeah, very moving. And get this, there's a whole mystery surrounding his monument.
Don't tell me. More vanishing stuff.
Not exactly. See, there used to be lions on his monument.
Lions, huh? Fitting for a general.
Where?
So where are they now?
That's the mystery. No one knows where they ended up.
Vanished lions.
Yeah.
This city is full of surprises.
Okay, so we've covered walls, gates, bastions.
Mm-hmm.
What else is there to Badajoz?
Well, remember, we've only scratched the surface.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget, there's a whole other dimension to these defenses.
What do you mean?
We've been above ground this whole time. What about what lies beneath?
Ooh, you're talking tunnels.
Maybe.
Ah.
Maybe even secret passages. Okay, now I'm really hooked. Tell me more. Tunnels and secret passages? You're killing me with suspense.
Okay, so there's this whole network under the city. The ones under the Semi-Baluarte to San Antonio are supposed to be, like, super interesting.
Oh, man, the things those tunnels must have seen. I'm picturing secret meetings, hidden treasures.
Who knows what's down there? Maybe we'll discover a hidden escape route used by, like, royalty or something.
Right, or a secret stash of weapons. Okay, so we've got walls, bastions, secret tunnels. Anything else I should know about?
Well, we can't forget about what makes Badajoz extra special. Did I mention it has the longest walled perimeter in all of Spain?
No, seriously. Longer than any other city.
Yep. Over 6,500 meters of walls.
6,500 meters. That's like, I don't even know how to picture that.
Think of it this way. It's longer than the walls of Pamplona, Segovia, Avila, and Lugo, all combined.
Whoa. That puts it into perspective. They were serious about their defenses, huh?
No kidding. And remember that massive Alcazaba we talked about?
Oh, yeah. 8 hectares. Right. Still trying to wrap my head around that.
It's pretty incredible. Over 1,300 meters of walls still standing. It makes some famous castles look tiny.
It really shows how much effort they put into protecting Badajoz.
Right. It makes you think about what it would have been like to live there, knowing you were surrounded by those walls.
Totally.
Yeah.
So out of all this, what stands out to you the most?
Good question. For me, it's got to be the combination of, like, military strength and beauty.
Beauty. Really?
Yeah, these things were built for war, sure, but they're also works of art. Take the Porta de Palmas, for example.
Right. It's a gate, but it's also this grand, ornate structure.
Exactly. It served a practical purpose, but they didn't skimp on the details, the carvings, the symbolism. It's amazing.
It's like they're saying we might be at war, but we still have good taste.
Exactly. I love that. And speaking of details, did your research mention anything about graffiti?
Graffiti on these historic walls.
Yeah. Apparently, soldiers carved all kinds of stuff into the walls of the San Pedro Bastion, like during the 1812 siege.
You're kidding. What kind of stuff?
Dates, symbols, even messages. It's like a window into their lives,
Wow, that's incredible. To think about those soldiers hundreds of years ago, leaving their mark on those walls.
Right. It's crazy to think we can still see it today.
It makes history feel so much more real and personal. Like these weren't just faceless soldiers. They were individuals with stories to tell.
Totally. And then there's General Menacho, the one who died defending the city.
Oh, right. And they dedicated that bastion to him.
Yeah, the Santiago Bastion. His story is pretty moving.
It must be. To give your life defending your home. That's powerful.
It really shows how much these walls meant to the people of Badajoz. They weren't just structures, they were symbols of their home, their identity.
Makes you think, doesn't it? How would Badajoz be different today if it hadn't been shaped by all this conflict?
That's a good question. Would it have the same character? That sense of history you feel everywhere you go?
I don't know. It's hard to imagine it any other way.
Right. It's like the walls aren't just a part of Badajoz's past, they're woven into its present.
Yeah, it really makes you think, like, would it be this vibrant, historic city without all those sieges and battles?
Who knows? But I think it's safe to say that Badajoz wouldn't be the same without its walls.
Totally. It's a city that's faced its share of struggles, but it's always come out on top.
I know, right? It's like they built these amazing defenses and held strong against all odds. Talk about resilience.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's pretty inspiring when you think about it. Like, even when things were tough, they never gave up on their city.
And they didn't just survive, they thrived. I mean, look at what they created.
It's true. The longest walled perimeter in Spain, the biggest Alcazaba in Europe. That's not just surviving, that's making a statement.
Exactly. And it just goes to show sometimes the greatest things come from the most unexpected places.
Yeah. Who would have thought this little border town would become, like, a fortress legend?
I know. It's like those stories where the underdog ends up being the hero.
Totally. Badajoz is proof that history is full of surprises.
And that's what I love about doing these deep dives with you. You never know what you're going to find.
Me too. It's like we're on a quest to uncover all these hidden stories.
Speaking of hidden stories, I gotta ask.
Go for it.
We've talked a lot about the physical defenses of Badajoz, the walls, the gates, the bastions.
Right, the tangible stuff.
But what about the intangible? What about the things that helped those people withstand centuries of conflict, besides just the walls?
Ooh, that's a good question. What do you think?
Maybe it was their spirit, like that never give up attitude.
Yeah, that makes sense. Or maybe it was their sense of community, like they knew they had to stick together to survive.
Maybe. Or maybe it was something else entirely, something we haven't even thought of.
That's the beauty of history, isn't it? There's always more to learn.
Totally. Well, I think that's a pretty good place to wrap things up.
I agree. We've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, from simple mortar walls to vanished gates and secret tunnels, Badajoz has it all.
It really does. And if anyone out there is as intrigued as we are,
Definitely look up some pictures.
you won't believe the scale of these fortifications until you see them for yourself. And think about it. How do those walls still impact the city today?
Good question. It's like we always say, there's always more to discover.
Absolutely. Keep exploring. Stay curious.
And we'll catch you in the next deep dive.